everyone, it's Alyssa here at the Township of Washington Library with our easy, quick, and breezy adult craft for August. We are doing a macrame keychain. There's a little story behind this one. This did it twice and the camera that I was using stopped recording, so I did a second one. But it just goes to show, and I talk about this at the end of the video, that you can really customize your keychain. The original pattern has 2 loops here, but the one that I did was a little shorter, it was only 1. So this is really easy. I think it's so funny that the first macrame craft that I did with everybody was the owl, and it was difficult and a little bit of a headache to film. And whereas now the second one, usually you go from beginner to advanced, and I kind of went from, I think the owl is really more moderate, it's pretty basic. You know, it's sort of in between in difficulty, but then I just went to something really easy. And I figured because it's summer, it's just a nice, satisfying, quick craft, and it gives you a little refresher on the knots. I also will link to the knot practice video that I did, which links to the owl video, but I've given you more than 1 bead, so you can choose which color you want. And like I said, you can do the 1 loop, the short one that I did here, or you can do the 2 loop, because you'll have longer cords than I have. But this is a really, really easy keychain. And if you haven't done the macrame owl with us before, or you did and maybe the owl frustrated you like it did with me, this is a redeemable macrame craft and a good intro to macrame. So I hope you have fun with this. It's really so quick and easy, so I hope that this is enjoyable. So let's get started. Okay, so this is how we're going to do our setup. I have the key ring here, and I'm going to tape it down. I also saw in the video where I got this pattern from, she used a command hook and hung this from a command hook, and that made sure that it really didn't go anywhere. You had access to the whole thing. That was pretty cool. All right, but I'm doing it this way, just doing the tape. Okay, so we have a cord that is 18 inches long and 2 cords that are 40 inches long. So we're going to start with getting all of these onto our ring with a lark's head knot. So I'm going to go ahead and bring this loop around the back of the ring and put my free ends through. And this is our first knot, right? We have our little bump right on the front here. This is the front of our keychain, technically. Now I'm going to take my 2 longer ones and put them on the outside on either side. Same thing, bring this through and take my free ends and pull my knot nice and tight. Okay, 1 more. Okay, so I have my 3 sections here. We are going to start by working with our outside cords, and we're going to get ready to kind of bundle these 4 in the middle all together here. I'm going to start with a square knot. So I have linked in the description for the video, my knots practice video from when we did the owl. And so if you need to practice and you need to see it over and over again, you can, but this is a really simple keychain. I wanted to pick a really easy project for summer. So remember, when we do knots, when we're working down, we kind of make 2 to make 1, right? It's 2 motions to make a complete knot. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to do our square knot. So I'm going to start here. This is my left hand cord. I'm going to drag it across my center 4. I'm making sort of this figure 4. I have my cord on my right hand starts over, but then I'm bringing it behind my middle 4 and through this loop. gonna make sure that these are flat here. Bring that up, tighten it, adjust as you need, and remember to do the square knot. We have to do the same thing that we did on this side to the other side. So I'm going to do my figure 4 again with my right hand. Now I'm taking the left hand cord, bringing it over. Now I have to go underneath my center 4 and bring it back through to finish my loop. And we'll tighten the whole thing up together now. Everything up the way that you want it. I always go really slow on my first knot because I just want to make sure that I remember what I'm doing here. All right, the next thing that we're going to do is our focal point here is our bead. So I'm going to take my 2 center cords and feed them through the bead. If your ends are really frayed and you don't have the patience to get them through the hole here, you can wet them, do a little glue, keep twisting them like I am. You could do tape, and the tape makes it really nice and smooth and tapered. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put them through here, and what I did before that worked really well for me is I just kind of kept twisting. Maybe it's not going to work for me this time. Let's see. I'm just going to twist them in. Pull them out the other side. I'm just twisting in the direction of the actual twist. See? I can pull them out the other side. All right. Unravel this. Pull this up and through. Okay, so to frame our bead, we are going to create a series of lark's heads knots that we're doing free. So it's not on the ring, it's free. So I'm going to work with the 2 on the side and the 2 on the side. So again, we're going to work with a series of figure 4s, a series of 2 to make 1 full knot. So I'm starting with, I'm always using this free one on the outside, and we're working the knot around this cord that's inner. So this is the working string, the one all the way on my left, and this is what we're making the knot around. So here we go. I'm going my figure 4, and I'm going over through the back, and I'm going to pull it through. Now I'm going to do it again, but this time I'm working under, right? So I've made my 4 under and pulling over top. See, and there my bump is on the front. That's my lark's head knot. It looks a lot like these. Okay, so we're gonna do that 3 times. Figure 4 on top, bring it through, tie the knot. Figure 4 on bottom, front to back. Now I've got my bump, I've got 1 full knot. We're gonna do 1 more. Figure 4 on top, through the back to the front. Figure 4 on bottom, front, cross it over, pull it back, and that's my 3rd knot, right? And see, this will nicely frame the bead. So now I have to do the same thing on the other side. And now my figure 4 is backwards. So I'm using my right cord and I'm going in around my working cord here, or the cord that I'm working around. Okay, so figure 4 on top, bring it through, figure 4 below, bring it through. And there's my knot. Do that 3 more times. On top, through the back, below, through the front. Okay, but now we have to bring these together. So we're going to do another square knot just like we did at the top. So I'm gonna work with my two outer cords. So I'm gonna create my figure 4. Bring this through. I'm going to push this up. Okay, now I'm going to do the other side. To complete my knot. And I just want to keep these center 4 cords kind of nice and bundled and flat, so there's no twisting. Okay. What we're going to do now is 2 square knots, but we're going to leave some little loosey-gooseys here to make a nice little loop. All right, so here's my 4. When I go to start my knot, I'm going to leave it all the way down here. Yours is not going to be as messy as mine. Your cord is longer than mine, but I've just completed my square knot and I've made it tight down here. And now what I'm going to do is whoop, push it up, and I've got a cute little loop right there, which is really nice. Okay. So you'll have longer cord than I will have, and you can do this twice to make 2 loops. There was one that I had started to do, but then I didn't film it, so you can see I have 2 loops. The second one is slightly smaller than the top one. So the next thing that we're going to do is we are going to finish this up. We're going to do a I forget what this is called. I'll insert it down here somewhere, but this is how we're going to finish this up. So I've got a lot of extra length over here, and I'm going to trim it. And what I'm going to do is just make a nice little loop here. Just a little loop, and make sure that there is an end sticking up. I'm going to hold everything in my hand, including my loop, and I'm going to take this free end and wrap it around. So we're just going to kind of bind it all up, neaten it all together. You can also, I don't really feel that it matters, but if you want to have a front and a back, you can flip this over right now and have this be the back, because there is kind of a front and a back to this particular one, but you know, it's a keychain, it's going to be dangling anyway. Don't know if it really matters, but all right. So I'm going to hold this here and just wrap everything all around. Nice and tight. We're really bundling this together. 1, 2, but don't lose your loop here. And now my last one here, I'm going to take this free edge and see, here's my loop that I didn't lose. I'm going to put this through the loop. Now I'm really going to hold everything all together, and with this end that we left up here, see, look, I'm going to pull it and it's going to help to tuck everything in. And now we just trim. So now we're, see, there we go. That's what it looks like on the front. That's what it looks like on the back. And now you can just trim whatever loose ends you don't like. I think I pulled that up too tight, but trim. I pulled that up too tight. I got too enthusiastic here and I pulled this too tight, but it's fine. Got a nice little knot there. So I'm gonna trim these little edges here that I don't need. Everything's pretty secure in there. You would have a much smaller, I'll show you what it looks like on this one. See, you can't actually see it on this one. This one I did correctly. I pulled it up and it's actually kind of only sitting right in here. I didn't pull it all the way through. And then I trimmed the excess, and you can't even see it because it's really tucked in. And then I trimmed the excess down here. So, you know, I'll trim this excess, but this one's not as secure. We did this on the owl as well, so if you need to, you can refer back to the owl video. But look, there it is. There's the keychain. And if you like, you can leave them all still twisted together like this, or you can unravel them. If you did the owl, you brushed it out so it had all of the individual strands, or you can just sort of half unravel. It'll start to unravel on its own the more that you use it. So you can, this really is variable and customizable. You can do the one loop like I did because my cords were too short. You can do the two loop and have one that's a little bit longer, maybe easier to find in your handbag or in your glove compartment, what have you. The catch-all basket by your front door where you keep your keys, all of that. But there it is. There's your keychain, and it is all done.